One for Mike.
And he stuck it right up them. That's what you did.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Welcome back, 2022, 5 o'clock somewhere podcast, the first one back for 2022, and exciting last year. Thank you to everyone who, was involved in the show. Some of our big names like Mark Matthews, we had Richie Vass on, and some awesome business owners like Corey Hargrave, and even international DJs such as Will Sparks. So big year for the podcast, and it was great to kick it off the ground and get it off the ground running. And now we're taking it to the next level this year. And no better way to take it to the next level by changing it up a little bit with this man's story. And one that caught my eye via a friend of mine. We're pretty active on YouTube and Instagram. And I saw his story on another podcast called The Felon Show, which anyone who knows me knows I absolutely love, all that sort of stuff, whether it's crime and gangs and anything to do with that seems to interest me for whatever reason. But I saw this man's story and I thought, definitely worth reaching out. And here we are. So 5 years in prison for Mark Talanoa, and gangs, drugs, involved in the bikies at some capacity, lots of violence, and it landed him in hot water. And now, he's on the path or the road to redemption, which he's empowering others to that they can change and they can get themselves out of the ruts that they are in, because he knows firsthand what it's like to be caught in a rut and feel like you can't get out. So Mark, welcome to the podcast. And it's awesome to have you on. First international guest ever as well over there in NZ.
Oh, bro, it's a pleasure, bro. Great to connect. And thank you for reaching out. And, I'm grateful to be on your podcast, bro. And hopefully I can inspire and empower your listeners and viewers. And bro, pleasure to be here.
I absolutely love the honesty and openness. I think what sort of caught my eye on some of the other shows that you were on, you've done a couple now, and I know you've got your own podcast as well with Road to Redemption. And I think the openness and honesty and how, I guess deep in it that you actually were. I think a lot of people probably would struggle to share that, the use of the drugs and how it sort of turned your brain. I think at one stage you're saying that you're up for multiple days at a time, and it really caught my eye. So it's a good story to tell, and I suppose you're now at the road to redemption. What does the road to redemption mean to you now? Sort of where you've taken that as a message.
Yeah, so like you said before, it's just for myself, road to redemption is I'm in the transitional phase of my life where I'm trying to help as many people out there as possible through mentorship, through sharing my journey and testimonial, through going into these youth justice centers, and in the process of just registering Road to Redemption Trust, where our sole purpose is to help our brothers and sisters reintegrate back into the community, whether that's in prison or coming out of youth justice the system. But yeah, Road to Redemption, bro, that's just trying to help as much people as I can, bro, with just sharing my message and planting little seeds, and hopefully they don't take the same path that I did, or if they're on that path, hopefully they can take a few leaves out of my book and use that for ultimate change.
So you said that you have done a few of the juvenile justice centers as well. So do you just go in there and chat to the young blokes, and what sort of response do you get from them after you leave a place like that?
Oh, bro, when I first went in this youth justice center here in Christchurch, I was so anxious, bro. Like I had so much anxiety going into that setting because it kind of reminded me of prison, and this is the first time I've been in that setting since being free. So, bro, I was full like shaking, going in there, just so nervous and anxious. Are they going to let me out? This, that. But the response I got was, it was a good response, because you can kind of break those barriers straight away, because you can kind of relate to them on some sort of level. I've been to prison. I kind of understand what you're going through, can kind of relate to. So automatically, you've broken down those walls, those barriers, and you can kind of plant little, like, I'm not going to change everyone, that's, in all honesty, I just want to plant little seeds in their heads that, maybe, someday that they can make that change as well, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. What do you think might have been the catalyst for, of change? Obviously, there's a number of things, but when you get out and you do the road to redemption and on the path that you're at now, is it something that you made consciously made a decision of when you left prison? Like, was this later on, or was it something that on the later stages of you being in there that you decided, nah, this is what I want to do, and that's the sort of road you're going to take?
Nah, definitely not, bro. So as soon as I got out of prison, man, my mind was still, I was still 1 foot in that space and 1 foot wanting to go straight, but just do a little shifty stuff on the side, but just don't get caught. I was this road to redemption, bro. This is a new sort of space for me, and I kind of took this path probably about 2 years ago, bro. I started making that serious change, where I was just like, nah, either got to go 100% this way, and I can't be either foot in either camp, because I was still there, bro. I was still here, still there, still like thinking, should I go and do this, and weighing up the options and the risks. But I was up against 2 years ago, Taylor, when I started sharing my journey and seeing the impact that had. I was like, oh, I can make a bigger impact or bigger difference by just sharing my journey and helping other people. So that was kind of the new sort of drug that I'm on, just trying to help as many people as possible. But yeah, it wasn't like I was sitting in prison after 5.5 years, bro. Hell no. And thinking, oh, I'm going to get deported. I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go road to redemption. I'm going to, be a squarehead. But nah, bro, over those years, man, it just slowly started to sink in that, nah, if I want to, better myself and move forward. And now I've got a little family and a wife and stepson that kind of, I'm responsible for. So I've got to make sure, I'm moving the right way.
Yeah, like you said, it's, I think with a lot of people are sometimes, whether anything in life, it's hard to fully commit, or if it's something sort of cold turkey where they got to get out of, they're always sort of slightly dabbling on the side, because it's hard to fully immerse yourself and give something up when that's all you've been doing for a long time. So I kind of understand what you mean there. And, it's funny with the story thing, what resonates the most now, and people kind of hesitate to share their story of fear of being judged or whatever. But it's interesting because the more stories that come out like yourself, and there's guys on YouTube and on the internet doing similar stuff. I'll give one example, would be like Spanion, who he's so big now just for the realness of the way he talks. And, all you're doing is telling your story. And I think people are so intrigued by it, and more people probably need to realize that everyone's got something to say and something to tell. So, credit to yourself. It's really good.
No, 100%. Like you said, everyone's got a story to tell, and if we could just share our story, our life experience, there'll be other people out there, like you said, that just be, probably just watching, and they may get inspired and may empower them to want to change. So, anyone out there, keep speaking your truth and sharing your journey. There's always someone out there that could learn off your life experience for sure.
When back, so if we sort of backtrack and go towards more like early days, sort of where you grew up, I'm not sure, did you grow up in NZ and then come over to Oz?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so I grew up in the east side of Auckland, a little place called Glen Innes, GI boy. And growing up, we didn't have much, but we didn't need much. I grew up in a family of 8, 4 boys, 4 girls. So pretty crazy, chaotic dynamics. I had to fight for everything, being right in the middle. And it's a low socio sort of economic sort of area. There's gangs, there's violence, there's drugs and alcohol, all that sort of abuse. And our upbringing we're brought up in the church as well, being of Tongan descent. Mum and dad, did their best, immigrating from Tonga, and just my childhood was awesome, bro. We didn't have much, but we didn't need much. But most of my role models, bro, were all doing shifty stuff, so that's the kind of path, and it's no surprise, Taylor, that out of 7 of my childhood friends, I always say this, that 5 of us have been in the system, from shootings, robbery, assaults, all the way up to murder. And I'm lucky that my brother, who's just finishing 16 years of his life sentence, he's at that stage where he's at the crossroads, and he sees my stuff. I keep in contact with him, and he wants to be on this sort of path that I'm on, because he's missed 16 years of his life.
Far
But
out.
this was the kind of upbringing that we're used to, seeing people go and out there and steal and rob and assault people, and that was normal to us.
Yeah. And do you think like it's at any point it's that it's kind of an interesting question. Do you think that your people are born to do bad things, or do you think the environment changes the person? Like, does that make kind of sense what I mean? Like, do you think, because, you hear these stories and it's like, is it the environment they are in, or is it, were they just always wanted to be bad? I don't know how else to kind of explain that. Yeah.
So you made nature or nurture, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it, a bit of both, eh? But I do believe the environment has a lot to do with, the sort of path that you go down to. So if you grow up in a neighborhood where, people are successful, they're driving these cars, they're all business orientated, they're chasing their careers, whether it's sports or music, and that, of course, you're going to want to, go down similar paths. But all we seen was, we didn't see much. Most of the people I grew up with were, either selling drugs, going robbing people, or working in a factory job, or playing sports. And see, that's the way that my brother Tools went, and I kind of went down that same path as well, in rugby league or rugby union. But I kind of veered back because I didn't make it. So I veered back to what I knew best was,
So one of your brothers played for Rabbitohs. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
NRL's not massive in Melbourne, as you would know, but I do know
more AFL.
I'm more AFL, but I've kind of got my gist around it. But and then you've got another brother who you said is doing 16. He's done 16 years. This is kind of a separate.
This is my childhood friend. Like, call him my brother, and but yeah, he's doing 16 years now for murder, and he's got one more year of his until he goes up for his parole hearing. So
it's crazy to even wrap your head around it from my perspective. But when was there any definitive kind of like time in your life, like when you were growing up, that you thought this, or not at the time, but you could look back on now and go, that's when I started to veer off into the wrong path, essentially?
I think when I stopped playing footy, bro. See, I played rugby league came up through the junior Roosters squad, went all the way up from 15s all the way up to under 20s, and then my brother went to South Sydney Rabbitohs. So the rivals. When I stopped playing footy, and I went and started a nightclub promotion business. I had all this free time. I had all this money. I was dealing drugs. I was in the nightclub scene, bro. So you could imagine at age of 21, bro, it was just, then I joined up with a bikie gang, and that was just like, a recipe for disaster, bro. And ever since, and as soon as I started dabbling into ice, that's when my life went into this, downward, erratic spiral. Yeah.
And I guess you probably don't know at the time. No one knows at the time that it's happening until it's almost too late. In those sort of situations. And it's interesting how insane that drug has become in society now. Like, I think, I could count on, on my hands right now of, people around you that, or that you know of or did know or whatever, that, use the drug and either function totally fine, or you wouldn't even know, or obviously completely tore their lives apart. So it's interesting to see the contrast between person to person, that you don't really know the risk you're sort of taking in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like, not many of my family or even close friends, bro, knew that I was on. Even my business partner, he didn't even know I was on the gear, bro.
Hiding it well, just working efficiently.
Yes, bro. Like, I was just like, bro, the longest binge I had was like 2 weeks, bro. 2 weeks, like, and I didn't know I was up for 2 weeks until I had to check the clock, and I was like, nah. I took off my shoes because I was always just having showers, back on my shoes, back going to meetings, this, that, partying. Obviously, I was in the nightclub business, so all you do, bro, is party from like Tuesday to Sunday, have one day off, and then keep going. So
sounds like my time at uni.
Yeah, bro. So, bro, now that I have kids, bro, I struggle to stay up, 12 hours in a day, bro. So,
Mate, I'm napping it. I'm having a sleep at 12 o'clock during the day and then going back to work. Fuck.
100%. I'm enjoying my sleep now, bro. But even now that I'm in this sort of frame of mind, my mindset's changed now. I can't imagine, being up for longer than one day and just what that does to being up days on end. And that's why that drug is so like it's so not I wouldn't say bad, but it's so crazy, that drug,
Yeah.
even if you don't even if you don't use drugs and stay up for one day, you're still going to start seeing things and hearing voices. And
I
you
couldn't
know what I
imagine
mean?
what 2 weeks that's a serious bender. If I've ever had one. That's a long
Bro,
time.
that is a very long time, bro.
Um, so I'm infatuated by this because it's such the unknown and prison life and jail and things like that are, I guess from where I come from, you don't really know too many people that you know a couple from your childhood and stuff that do end up in jail, but no one really knows from what you see on TV and you see in movies and you see what you hear on podcasts or whatever. So I've always found it quite interesting. What was it that actually landed you in prison and sort of how did you get yourself there in the first place?
So when I told you I had joined a bikie gang and I had a misunderstanding with one of the members, I wanted to leave, bro. Like I was making enough money in the nightclubs, dealing drugs, that I didn't really need to be with a sort of bikie gang. And I just wanted to leave. Let's just put it that way. Had a misunderstanding. Obviously, got threats. Family was threatened, and then I took matters into my own hands, and got done for shooting, and malicious damage, and threatening to kill, and all this sort of carry on. So I just went on like a bit of a rampage, bro.
Yeah.
And then when I did get done, I got done with possession and pistols and all kinds of stuff.
You've gone completely rogue. And
Yeah, bro.
it's great. And I'm assuming there was probably ice involved at some capacity
Yes,
as well.
100%. I was probably on like, I don't know, just a normal 2-3 day bender, and I at that time I was like fearing for my life, like especially when you're on drugs, you get so paranoid and erratic that I was walking around broad daylight, bro, with 2 pistols, bro, one in the front loaded, one in the back. I had like 50 bullets in each pocket.
Jesus. Don't
Yeah,
cut him off in
bro.
the line at Macca's.
Oh, bro.
Don't get in his way. He's on a mission.
Don't get it. 100%, bro. So I think it's kind of blessing in disguise that I did get done when I did get done, because if not, I would have, ended up, doing longer time, or I would have got killed. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of positive I take out of it.
For sure. And what was your first day in jail like? Because it's always an interesting thought. Like, what would the first day be like, and how would you feel? I know if that was me, I'd probably be shitting myself. So, did you feel that, or is it like you went to jail in Sydney, so I'm assuming it's all a little bit different there. But yeah, how did you feel at the time?
Bro, my first 2 weeks, bro, I was coming down obviously off drugs, so I was starting to withdraw. So I was still, bro, highly erratic. I started losing the plot. I started like, abusing the guards, the screws. Then they sent me from Surrey Hills, which is a prison that you don't want to be at. So obviously the boys always told me, try to get out of Surrey Hills as soon as you can. So as soon as I got there, I kicked off with the guards. They put me in segregation. Then they sent me to MRRC, which is Darcy. And this is the pod where they it's like reception, so they just try to find out who you're with, sort of what links do you have, and what kind of jail can they send you to. So this jail is like two levels. I think it's like 60 inmates in a pod, and it's like perspex windows, and just concrete beds, just like the ones that you see on the movies and stuff. As soon as I got there, bro, I started kicking off again, because all I wanted to do was call my family, So I just started, bro, abusing the shit out of the screws. I lit my cell on fire, flooded it. Squad came in. I knew straight away that they stripped me naked and they chucked me in a cell, 2 cells down. They left the lights on, bro, for like, would have been like 48 hours, didn't feed me.
It's not what you need on the back end. Not what you need on the back end of the bed.
No, bro.
That's the last thing we need.
So, and I was trying to think to myself, bro, I was like, how am I going to do like 5 to 10 years of this? Like, because I thought that was jail, bro, like 2 concrete beds. Like, I was like, how am I going to survive? So the first 2 weeks for me was pretty erratic, bro, pretty intense. And as I come to like learn was from one of the guards was it's either you we're going to make your life a living hell or you just do as you're told, just play the game. Pretty much that's what one of the squad members told me, just play the game. This is not jail. As soon as you get out of Darcy, jail was pretty not easy, but you get more comfortable because you're around with boys that are been there for years. They've already set up, they got TVs, they got Breville's, they got food. Where I was, but there was no food. You had to got fed 3 times a day, and I was just like next to nothing, and especially coming down, bro. That was the first 2 weeks was every minute, bro. It felt like a month. Every minute felt like a month.
No wonder you're going to end up kicking off as well. I think not only are you coming down from the drugs, but you don't know where you are. You can't speak to your family, and you're kind of in a bit of the unknown territory. And you would have moved on from there and gone to the main jail? Did you spend all of your time at one particular place? Like obviously after you got out of that place at Darcy?
Yeah, no way. So
you
I
just
heard I
moved
was
around?
going. Yeah, I heard I was going to Parkley, and I heard Parkley was pretty like violent jail, but it was a good jail, nice and cruisy, but violent at the same time. And I got there, and I was kind of, I'm 22 years old, bro, shitting myself, walking into this yard, hearing all these stories from all the boys on the truck. Oh man, what happens at Parkley? This happens, that happens. And it was like a family reunion, bro. I got there, my uncle was there, my cousins are there, a few boys that I knew from the area was there. So I was pretty happy to be in a pod, full of people that I kind of knew. But nah, bro, I didn't stay in one jail, bro. Because I was playing up in there. I got sent, bro, Broken Hill, up to Kempsey, that's like up north. Broken Hill's like near Adelaide. I went all over the place, bro.
Far out. And I suppose you're probably like you said, you walked in and had that sort of family ties there, which sort of helps out, I suppose, when you walk in. But what would happen if I'm the small 74 kilo like little operator, and I'm sure that this would happen every now and again. You kind of get someone who goes in there. I think in New South Wales jails, it's quite like racially segregated in some places, or like there's sort of, you have those sort of prison gangs, if you would say. But what does someone come in like myself, who is white boy, small, is normal Australian like kind of guy, not in with any sort of clique or like gang, as you would say, or part of the different racial divide? How does that work? What do I do? Where do I sit?
Bro, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest person or the smallest person. It doesn't matter your color, what area you come from. As long as you go inside and you don't try to be someone that you're not, you're sweet, bro. Like you'll be sweet as long as you go there. You do your jail, you keep to yourself. You always back yourself. You have a go if someone tries to, call you out. People leave you alone, bro. People respect that. And if people see, or when I was in jail, if someone sees someone trying to pick on someone that's smaller than them or bully them, like, not boys don't like that in jail. That goes against like the jail code, if you will,
Yeah, it's one of those questions that I think so many people would think about sometimes. And the reason I bring this up is because years ago, when I was 18, those who know me would know this story, but those who don't know me, you're hearing it for the first time now. But when I was 18, I got involved in, had a bit of a scrap. We weren't bad kids, but I wouldn't say we were good either. And some stuff had happened. We come out of the nightclub, we were pretty pissed, and had this big scrap with these blokes. And obviously, long story short, one of the guys, hit his head. He was unconscious, and things proceeded after that. Anyway, thought nothing of it. And, obviously I regret doing it to this day, but thought nothing of it. Then months and months later, ended up getting done and arrested and taken in. And, at that point I was like, oh, I've fucked up big time here, because these charges were carrying like a bit of time. I mean? Luckily I hadn't done anything before this, but they were making an example of blokes like me, who they've gotten into a pub fight and something bad's happened. And, luckily I got off it and did what I had to do to get off it, and it all worked out for the better. Probably changed my life, to be honest. But I look at that situation and go, fuck, like imagine if that I threw everything away and just those couple punches ended up with me landing in jail. And, that I look back and think, pivotal moment in me growing up, but also, geez, it was fucking lucky.
Yeah, because how old were you when that happened?
I was 18. I was 18 on the dot. I was 18 or 19.
What year was that?
2012, 2013.
2012.
Yeah, 2012.
And Taylor, that was the years that I don't know about down in Melbourne, but in New South Wales, that's when the coward punch.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I mean.
Yes, bro.
The judge was coming down like a ton of bricks on me, like because it was, it wasn't by any means a coward punch. It was a fight, and someone came off worse off. But it was more just the fact of, it was on camera, and it was silly anyway. But they were making an example of guys, and I did so much community service to try and get off it and do the right things to prove I was a good bloke. But I did think for a period of time there, I thought, well, I could be fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
100%.
And that just changes the whole course of your life at 18 years old. So I kind of like, did you see anyone come in like that was like, just fucked up? Let's just say like a bad drink driving, culpable driving accident or something. And they've come in with no prior history and ended up in jail for a substantial amount of time, just thinking, fuck my life.
A lot of boys, man, and that's a sad reality. I know one of the boys, he was only meant to come in for 3 years, bro. He ended up doing just over 10 years. So that extra 7 years, bro, was additional charges within prison.
So just playing up.
So just playing right up, to add extra 7 years, and that's a common thing in there. A lot of boys come in there 18 months, 2 years, and then end up, adding another year, 2 years, 3 years. But I know myself, bro. I wasn't, not that I wasn't that stupid, but I knew that, this is the only time I want to get locked up. I want to do my time, and I want to get out. Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time that I needed to. 5.5 years was, bro, that was long enough for me.
For sure. And I know you do it. Like, I've actually was stalking your Instagram yesterday, just going through, and I know you do a bit of boxing and stuff. But did you train in jail as well? Obviously, I'm a PT, strength and conditioning coach, and I'm always intrigued to see, was there a training structure that you followed? Did you have weights? Like, were you, having a crack during the day, or was it, where was your head at with that?
Yeah, I love training, bro. That was like my medicine in there. That was my therapy. So we did a lot of calisthenics, obviously, chin-ups, push-ups, dips, all types of body weight stuff. If we needed weights, we had to use water bags. So you just fill up, your garbage bags, double them up, and then, make like 15-liter or 20-liter sort of bags for like curls or, shoulder presses. We'll use the bleach bottles. They're like 10 liters, I think they were, or 5 liters each. Use them for shoulders. Anytime we'll do squats, we'll have someone on our shoulders, do squats that way. There was a lot of CrossFit that was just coming out, and also MMA because of the UFC. So there was heaps of boys doing grappling and heaps of pads. I love doing pads. So my training workouts will be, I used to love running. So I used to either run first thing in the morning and then hit pads during lunch and then do weights after. So, but while I was in there, I was just trying to learn as much. As I went down to C classes, which is minimum security, they have gyms there. So they all have your cables and all that stuff. So cables and machines. So I was kind of getting into that. Also keeping my calories, doing pads. I loved it. I loved training in there, man.
Yeah, I can imagine it's probably a good outlet and a good way to pass the time and structure your day around it. I guess you just eat and go to sleep, and then it's, you're basically living like an elite athlete.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Really, like, if you're not fucking around with anything else, it's you're getting the rest in. I'm like, how you probably sleep for a fair few hours, you get your good recovery, and then straight back into it. So
we're locked in. Most maxos were 3 o'clock, bro. So from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Yeah. So we're getting heaps of rest time, heaps of downtime. And I loved the training in there. Was my therapy. Like, but my mindset around it was, if I smash myself as hard as I can, just train, hours on end, then by the time I get locked in, you just want to escape. You just want to have dinner, have your shower, watch a bit of telly, and then go to bed. But that was my sort of fear around it. Just go as hard as I can, just exhaust myself, just so I can go to bed, sleep it off.
Did the officers ever care that you like? Are you allowed to fucking squat with someone else on your back and stuff like that? Are you allowed to use random weights, or was it kind of like if you can make it, then fuck it, go for it?
No. So the officers, if they see you with bags and stuff, they'll come and pop it or.
So you got to be stealth.
Yeah. But if they see you out in the yard with another 50 inmates, they're not going to walk in the yard and tell you, take it off you. They're going to wait. But you can use other people to do squats. I think they've started to take off because the pads, how we used to make our pads, we used to get toilet rolls, just squash them down and then put our like jail socks over them and just tie them up, and that will be our pads. Do a bit of sparring as well in there, which was good. Kind of get out of hand if you
I could imagine.
spar the wrong person.
Yeah.
Things will just escalate. But yeah, it's just like you said, it's just like a big training camp, eh?
For sure.
You just eat, train, sleep. Or with me, I was just dabbling into a lot of drugs. So it was eat, train, take drugs, go to sleep.
And then maybe don't sleep and then train again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did before we sort of moving from the jail stuff, what was there anyone like any high profile like prisoners that you ever had run-ins with in there? Like what during your time? Any like high profile people that we sort of know?
So
figures?
John Krillick, he's like he escaped. He's like one of the all-time escapees. I don't know if you know him. I done a lot of time with him. I'm just trying to think, most people from like the underworld and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like are you talking about a high profile like?
Oh no, just anyone we might know that's high profile or that you see on the news, or I don't know, just characters that we'd probably know from the internet.
I'm just trying to think, Probably no one at the top of my head, but most of the, I don't want to say too many boys' names.
You don't have to throw under. No, that's, we can come back to it if you think of something. But at what point did you decide that enough was enough, and obviously you come to the end of like you're stretching there, but at what point do you just go, fuck this, I'm never coming back here, like I've had enough and I'm ready to hang the boots up?
Oh, bro, I knew after my first week, bro. I knew like this is no way to be living. I put my family through all this stress and embarrassment and let them down, let myself down. And I just knew, Taylor, bro, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to do another leg, bro. Never again, It's why would I waste my time again, I've stuffed up already. Why would I go and do it again? And that's the thing that kind of gets to me is when I see brothers and sisters that have go in and out, like jailbirds, in and out, revolving doors, where it's like, fuck, what is it? What actually needs to happen for you to not go in and out? Like,
how do you break the cycle?
It's a sad life to live, bro. Like, but to answer your question, after the first week, bro, I was like, hell no, I'm done with jail, man.
No, it's good. I mean, look, all you can do is exactly what you're doing and keep pushing the message and getting your story out there. And I think it'll probably help more people than you realize. I mean, it's like I'm sure that doing the juvenile justice centers and getting in there and getting in there early and spreading your message is super powerful. And even for me seeing it on YouTube, I was totally interested in seeing more about your life and sort of what you had to say. And yeah, it's a good message, man. It seems like you fully turned it around. I think what do you do for work? I swear I saw another podcast that you were a chippy. Did I get that right?
I'm doing, so I'm in my 4th year of my apprenticeship, bro. Doing my carpentry qualification. So I'm in my last year. So hopefully at the end of this year, I hope to get qualified and just move straight up the ranks. That's my plans anyway. I want to get off the tools and move into site management.
Nice.
With the company that I'm with, they do a lot to support me with Road to Redemption, with talks and mental health and helping me put together this Road to Redemption app. So I'm in the process of creating an app where I can help people. It's going to be an app that helps people reintegrate back into society a lot easier, helping them find work, stay connected with their family, accommodation, services that can help them with finances. So I'm in the process of building that with my company. And bro, things are good. And I think I do need to share more of my journey. Like you said, because I do believe a lot of people can benefit from and get inspired by it. So I think that's on the cards, bro. Just having 2 kids, man, it's very challenging, bro. So
No, totally. I haven't got 2 kids, but I've got a French bulldog, and I've had to lock him up, and I can hear him screaming in the bathroom. So
yeah.
I sort of get what you mean there.
Yeah, you kind of understand, yeah, bro.
So I've got a couple of questions I usually like to do this, just put the questions out on Instagram. So I'm going to get them up because I've got a few questions from the people. Let me have a squeeze. All right. So I suppose we kind of already touched on this one, but what was your sort of training routine when you're in jail? Just like a quick version of what your routine would look like, what your training split would look like, and how you'd break that down.
So I wake up first. This is my day. Wake up first thing in the morning, about either run, and then midday either do some sort of pad work, boxing, sparring, and then do weights before I get locked in. That'll just be my everyday sort of routine. Add CrossFit in there as well. I used to love doing CrossFit and heaps of calisthenics.
Nice. And where do you see, they're kind of all over the shop here, where do you see, I suppose you kind of already answered this too, but where do you see the Road to Redemption, like your message? What's your sort of goals for it moving forward? I know you mentioned the app, but yeah, what was some other things where do you want to take it?
I think the end goal with the trust that I'm setting up, our end goal, because we done our goal setting a couple of weeks ago, was our end goal would be to have redemption houses all over the country, which accommodates people that get out of prison, helps them upskill and get the qualifications they need, skills, and that's the end goal for Road to Redemption. Little redemption houses all over the country, but plans for Road to Redemption just continue to spread my message and start my podcast. I haven't started the podcast yet, but I do plan on starting it soon. And just get more into the institutions and prisons and juvenile justice, and roll out a redemption program, which helps kids reintegrate back into society a lot easier,
Unreal. No, that's awesome. And the last one is, if you could tell yourself something, if you could tell yourself something 10 years ago, what would it be?
10 years ago, how old was I?
Well, roughly back in the day. If you could tell yourself something back in the day.
Don't take drugs.
That's a good message.
That's the first thing, though. Just don't dabble in drugs. Or listen more. Just be open to because I'm the type where I'm so defiant. I like to learn the hard way, and I have to rock bottom before I
That's just because you're sure about what you want, though. You know what I mean? That's probably more. You want to do it your way because you're determined to make it work for you.
Yeah, I like the way you put it. Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Don't worry, I'm pretty similar, brother. Don't worry.
Yeah, nice. But that'll be it, bro. Don't take drugs, eh?
No, nice. It's a good message. And I just wanted to say, totally inspiring message. I think it's awesome, and I'll obviously keep following you for a long time. And I thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show, and I'm sure the listeners will get heaps out of this, just purely off the back of, I think it's something that, not many people speak about and hear from people that have done what you've done firsthand and come out the other side and have a great message to spread and have awesome plans for the future. Like you said, the redemption houses and things like that. I think it's making a change for the better in the world. So really, really good work, Mark. And I really appreciate having you on today.
No, thank you, Taylor. I appreciate your time, and it's a pleasure, bro. I've enjoyed it.
Easy. We'll make sure we chat again when we've maybe we've got the app sorted, and we can go from there, and you can tell the listeners where it's at and how they get around it.
100%. Thank you, brother.
Good, man. Thank you, Mark. Cheers, guys. Episodes out 2022 fortnightly, 5 o'clock somewhere, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Jump on there if you haven't already. Go back and listen to all the great episodes we've done. And of course, this one with Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, I will see you soon.